guys, Rocco here. Welcome to the 25k subscriber upload frenzy. This is for you guys. We're doing a whole heap of videos. It's going to be Indian content, American content, Australian content, Chinese content, Afghanistan content, fucking everything. We're doing the whole lot, alright? Just because that's the kind of guy I am. I like to pay back. I like to pay it forward. Alright, we're going to do today, because I have no idea about the truth behind the Indian and Pakistan conflict. Now, I know that India and Pakistan don't mesh at all, but I want to know why. FTD Facts, my alumni, my alma mater, are going to help me and help you, and then you're going to help me even further down below in the comments. Deal? Dealio.
Welcome back to another episode of FTD Facts. This is a new generation of class, and now in this episode we're going to be talking about the controversial subject of the India-Pakistan partition. And now this video is dedicated to all of our viewers from each of those countries, as well as to anybody else that wants to be familiar with a little bit of this history. Now, ever since this partition has happened, these two countries, India and Pakistan, have several conflicting views on some things. Now, there's a lot of bias and misunderstanding of what happened, and here at FTD Facts, we don't take sides at all. So what you'll be getting is unbiased, undisputable facts of what actually happened. Fact! Now, this video is going to be divided up into 5 subsections, talking about the people, the assets, and the resources that had been divided since the partition, as well as we're going to touch on some points of conflicts that these countries have. Cool. So let's start off with a little bit of the history of the partition itself. Now, to start off, we have to talk about the fact that for almost 200 years, the Indian subcontinent was ruled by a British Raj. Raj is a Hindi form for reign. Most of India was directly under the British rule. 60% of the total area and as much as 75% of the total population. But there were a few hundred princely or native states that the British ruled indirectly. Now, at its height, the British Raj was made up of not just present-day India, with the exception of small Portuguese and French-owned territories, but was also made up of Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Myanmar, and also for a shorter period of time, Aden, now part of Yemen, and British Somaliland, which you can tell by the name is now part of Somalia. Now, when World War II ended, the British realized that they could no longer hold on to India, and in early 1947, Lord Louis Mountbatten, he was the last governing official of British India. He set a deadline for independence for August 15th, 1947. Now, on July 8th, the British lawyer Sir Cyril Radcliffe arrived in India with a plan that divided the Hindu majority lands from the Muslim majority ones. Then, in August of 1947, the British finally left after partitioning the Indian subcontinent into 2 separate nations, which were India and Pakistan. On August 14th, Pakistan became an independent country, but it faced several problems. One of those issues was that it never had natural borders such as a river, a sea, or some sort of mountain range. Also, Pakistan was divided up into 2 regions, and these 2 regions were West Pakistan and East Bengal. And those 2 regions were separated by about 1,000 miles of land that belonged to India. So as you could imagine, it was pretty difficult to govern a country where one land was over here and another part of the land was way over there.
Do you think, guys, that the British did this shit on purpose before they left? They thought, let's fucking split them up and get them fighting. I don't know. This might just be Rocco. Let's continue.
Now, also, when it came to drawing the borders, one of the big issues was that no amount of population distribution could perfectly divide the Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs. 62% of the area...
Full on, it's like the Ministry of Silly Walks. Have you ever seen the Ministry of Silly Walks, guys, by Monty Python?
The very real problem is one of money. And the Ministry of Silly Walks.
Oh, man, it's awesome. Let's go.
Undivided Punjab was given to India, along with 55% of the population. Now, the Punjab region was split into Punjab, Pakistan, and Punjab, India, following the independence and partition of the 2 countries back in 1947. Now, this border ran from Kashmir state south along the Uj River, leaving one sub-district of the Gurdaspur district to Pakistan and giving the rest all to India. And now guys, before I continue, I want to know, what do you love about your country? Let me know down there, as well as if you are proud of your country, regardless of what your country is. Let me know by hitting the like button.
Alright, so I'm proud of Australia because we try not to get too worked up in all that shit. You know what I mean? We try not to get too worked up in religion, politics. I mean, most Aussie people, you're just trying to finish the working week so we can get to the weekend and relax. That's just how it is. That's our religion. Let me know down below, guys. Or let Leroy know down. Or let us both know, you know, if you got the time, what you love about your country. I actually like quite a few things. The barbecues, the beach culture, the sun, the surf, the ladies. Oh, the ladies. Let's do it!
Now let's talk about the refugees issue. Now, when Radcliffe's plan to make the division became public, a lot of violence and riots broke out all over the country. Now, the partition had left up to 1 million people dead and forced 20 million people to move one way or the other across the new border. So millions of people found themselves living in the wrong country and became victims of discriminatory attacks. People thought that if you're Muslim and wanted to be safe, you had to move to Pakistan. If you were non-Muslim, you had to go to India. Now this led to one of the largest mass migrations in history.
What about the Christians?
5.3 million Hindus fled from Punjab and Sindh into India, and 5.9 Muslims fled from India into West Pakistan. Also 3.3 Hindus fled East Bengal, and also 1.3 million Muslims fled from India into East Bengal.
Amazing.
And more than 1 million refugees migrated from East Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh, to West Bengal in India. Now on April 8th, 1950, there was a pact called the Delhi Pact. Now this was signed in New Delhi, India by India's Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru and Pakistani's Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan. Now the pact was to allow refugees to return safely to where they came from to take care of any unfinished business that they had, as well as all abducted women and stolen properties were supposed to be returned, and the pact also cancelled out any forced religious conversion.
All abducted women were to be returned. Good policy, yo! Shit. Sometimes, like, when they bore down shit like this and you realise they have to have a law, it's like the urine detection systems in the elevators in Singapore or whatever. It's like, just the fact that they have to make it a law not to urinate in elevators or to return hostages. I love it. I love this world.
Now let's talk about some of the assets that were divided up after the partition. Among other assets that had to be distributed were the wine cellars, and those would stay in India because Pakistan would be an Islamic state where alcohol is haram. However, Pakistan was supposed to be monetarily compensated for its share of the value of the wine. Now at the time, there was only one government press that printed the money, and India did not want to hand that over. So when Pakistan began its existence, it used Indian currency and stamped the name Pakistan over India. Now in terms of the military, this was one of the major issues because at first the British were reluctant to divide up the forces, but eventually it was agreed that they would split this 36% and 44% between Pakistan and India respectively. Now the soldiers were given freedom to join whichever country they wanted, so Muslim forces went to Pakistan and non-Muslim forces went to India. Now the thing is, now in Pakistan's army, their army of 150,000 men needed 4,000 officers, but there were only 2,500 trained Muslim officers, so Pakistan did what it had to do and it had to take about 500 British soldiers for the time being. Now we move on into the Kashmir controversy. So the tricky part
It's not waiting for him to fucking take off like a helicopter then.
The 1,800-mile line dividing Pakistan and India laid north of Punjab, and this used to be the princely state of Kashmir. And its ruler had to decide whether to join India or Pakistan after independence. Now the state had a mostly Muslim population, but a Hindu ruler who wanted to keep Kashmir independent. And because of this, a rebellion broke out and caused the king, Maharaja Heer Singh, to ask for India's help. This resulted with Kashmir joining India. Now the war broke out between the two countries over this in 1948, and again in 1965, and also again in 1999. The Indo-Pakistan War of 1947 to 1948 created a state called Azad Jammu and Kashmir, also known as AJK, which is a self-governing administrative division of Pakistan. Now, most of Kashmir at this point is India held,
chill
while
on one of them
Pakistan
boats.
holds the eastern portion. And depending on who you're talking to, the map of India and Pakistan could vary. Now, this is because the line that divides the two countries, it's not actually an international border determined by officials,
It's just drawn
but
it.
rather it's considered a line of control, which was the result of a ceasefire. And the fifth point of controversy that we're going to look at is the Siachen glacier. Now, to further complicate
seen
things,
something on
there's
this.
also a line of actual control in the Indian
on.
subcontinent's high north, dividing the territory that is held by India but sometimes claimed by Pakistan from territory held by China but claimed by India. Yeah, pretty tricky. Hopefully you got that. Now, this area is called Aksai Chin, and it was occupied by China during the brief Sino-Indian War in 1962. Now, India and Pakistan agreed to respect the line of control by the Simla Agreement in 1972, but this document actually left out the Siachen Glacier, which India then occupied in 1984. And occasionally battles have began over this area, and the Siachen Glacier is a great place to have because it's considered the largest single source of fresh water on the Indian subcontinent, and it's also the highest battleground in the world. And the Indian soldiers there are at 21,000 feet above sea level. Now, it serves India's interest to guard this glacier, since
Look at
this
the
glacier
smile on
prevents
his
a direct
face.
link between Pakistan and China. So there you have it, guys. That concludes this episode of FTD Facts. We only scratched the surface, so guys, if you want a part 2 and if you want some more on this, let me know down there in the comment section. There was a ton of information that we obviously couldn't fit in this video. Again, there's no hate coming from us. We just like to take a look at the facts and hopefully come to an understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how we do it here on
Exactly.
this channel. It's an open conversation, so feel free to join in on the conversation down below in the comments. Until
Yeah,
next time,
wanna be
guys, I'm
constructive?
Leroy Kenton. And hopefully you guys, if you weren't familiar with this history, now you found out a little bit more of why there's some
Ministry.
tension between
Silly
the two
walks.
countries at times.
Whoa! Yes! Oh, the kicking gets me every time. Alright, part 2, guys. Oh my god, it just come out. Well, you know that's coming straight away, guys. Hit me down below if you want to see part 2. That was awesome, man. Oh, yeah. What can you say? I mean, to me, conflict like this just seems fucking ridiculous. It seems like it's government-engineered conflict, and then people are just getting on board because they've said, well, you know, the Hindus and the fucking Punjabs, they can't get together. You can't have them guys get together. The Muslims and them, no, they can't get together. It's all a load of shit, you know what I mean? Like, unless people told you, you don't know the religion of the person living next door to you, you know what I mean? Chances are you're going to live next to them all your life, you're not going to have a problem. But, that being said, you can understand it. You can understand the conflict. It's a shame that it looks like the British left and they just like say, let's divide them and let's put a big chunk of land in the middle so they've literally, fucking butt heads. Not cool, Britain. Not cool at all. But hey, what can you do? It's the way history has, unraveled herself. And, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, guys. That, I truly believe in that. So, in all that fact, now that India's got hardcore territory, they've got, the glaciers all sorted. Actually, I did an EIC outrage on the coldest war. I think it was called the Coldest War. They did one on it. They did a rundown on that whole glacier battle and all the crazy stuff. They don't want to go to the bathroom because they get to take their things out in the cold weather. Like go and have a piss in the corner of your tent and then snap it off at the end of it and throw it out. It's not fun for anyone, guys. All I like to say is respect for the people that serve in the armed forces, because the people serving in the armed forces, they're just like you and me. It's normal people, man. People that engineer the actual wars. Yeah. Don't get me started on them guys. Alright, thanks for joining us, guys. I'll see you very, very shortly. We got lots more. I've got the request book. It's out. There's not many pages left in it. I'm going to try and smash them all out within the next couple of days and over the weekend. Remember to hit the like, hit the subscribe, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, and yeah, subscribe, tell your friends. Share the, guys, 25k, let's get it out there. Let's share these videos. Alright, cheers guys, we'll see you for the next one.